Hi folks, this is Daryl Legacy, Instructional Designer at Hack. This video is going to talk about ways to make your documents more accessible to all students. I'm going to focus on Word documents here, but I'll talk about PDFs and D2L files in future videos. In previous videos, I talked about uploading captions to your videos and how to edit YouTube's automatic captions. These are great ways to help make sure your materials are accessible for all students. A student with a hearing impairment or one with a technological issue may have trouble using the audio elements of your video. Having the spoken elements available as text can be a huge help to them. And even students without any of these issues may appreciate being able to see the text while watching the video, such as if they're watching with the sound off. Students with a visual impairment, on the other hand, may have more trouble using your documents. Many students use screen reader software that will read the text out loud to them if they can't easily see it. However, in order for this to work correctly, we have to make sure the document is set up correctly. There are 4 elements that can go a long way in making your document more or less accessible: headings, lists, color contrast, and links. This video will talk about headings, and we'll have future videos to talk about the others. When making assignments or instructions, the first step for many people is to center the cursor, make the font very large and or bold, and write the title like this. This works fine for someone with no visual impairments, but if someone is using screen reader software, it doesn't know it's a title. It just reads it as regular text. The same thing goes for headings and subheadings. Instead, you need to identify it as the title. Start at the top line, then, in Microsoft Word, make sure you're on the Home tab and click Title in the Styles section. This makes the text larger and also changes to a slightly different typeface. But most importantly, it now tags it as a title so that a screen reader will know to identify it as such. Once you've tagged it as the title, you can make whatever other changes to it that you want: font size, bold, different typeface. Since you tagged it, it stays as the title no matter what other changes you make. Sometimes that's all you need to use for styles, especially if the document is short or all focused on one idea. However, you may want headings and subheadings to show different levels of content. If this is an assignment sheet, the title might be the name of the assignment, but you might want some headings, such as requirements, organization, and topics. Just like with the title, don't just manually make the font larger to denote a heading. Instead, click the Heading 1 option in Styles, where you found the title style earlier. In much the same way as it did when you clicked the title style, the font size and typeface changes. You can then make other changes if you want, like centering, indenting, or changing font. Make sure you choose Heading 1 for all the main topics in your document. Let's do it for organization and topics also. Then, if you have any subtopics, highlight them and choose Heading 2. Let's create some subtopics under Requirements: Length, Sources, and Formatting. We have to make sure the same levels all use the same heading style so that screen readers know how to describe it for someone who can't easily see the text. Topics get Heading 1, subtopics get Heading 2, and you can even add subtopics as Heading 3. In fact, Word has built-in heading styles all the way up to Heading 9. Once you've used Heading 2, Heading 3 will show up in the Styles window. And once you use Heading 3, Heading 4 will show up. Word hides each one until you've used the previous one. The reason for this is that it's important you don't skip any. Going from Heading 1 to Heading 3 can confuse screen readers because they're expecting there to be a Heading 2. Remember that if you don't love the way Heading 2 looks, you can always change it after you tagged your heading with that style. The important thing is not to skip to Heading 3 just because you like the look better. You can change the default look of any style by clicking the diagonal arrow in the lower right of the Styles section. Then, click the middle button of a letter A in a pencil at the bottom of the window. This is the Manage Styles button, and you can select any style and click the Modify button to change the font size, typeface, and even the color. Then, if you click the button on the bottom that says New Documents based on this template, that will be the default look of that style for every future document you create. Selecting a style is often less work than making it manually, and it's really helpful to any student with a visual impairment. Even if you edit the heading manually after you've tagged it, it's only one extra click to help a screen reader identify it as a heading. Your students will thank you, and you'll be going a long way toward meeting the requirements for an accessible document. Even if you don't have a student with a visual impairment now, you may in the future, and if you're going to use this document again with them, it must be accessible. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please contact me or anyone in the CDI team.